Well, hi everyone. It looks like we're live again, and
Hello, everybody.
It's me and Domenico, right? He's over there.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
We got Craig over there. No, over there. There.
Yeah.
That's Craig.
And today we're just gonna. No, we don't really know what this is. We thought we'd just have an experiment because, don't we, Domenico? We kind of have a chat, don't we? Once we've done the show and things. I thought sometimes some really good stuff comes up when we're chatting. I mean, we chat about everything. We're not going to just talk about the psychic world. We're just going to talk between us, and you guys can join in with us, really, basically, and put your comments and say hello, and that's about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about news, politics, tech, ideas, what we saw on the street, what we ate, how the family is.
yeah. That sounds good. Or what we haven't ate sometimes.
Or what we haven't had. And what we would love to eat. For example, I miss so much the squid salad at the Naples.
Oh, we were talking about that today, actually. Me and James. Yeah. Because I ordered some squid, right? Because we found this great fish place right down in Cornwall that would deliver during the lockdown, and so rather than go out the home, I ordered. This is a while back. So I said I'll order myself some octopus. They sent me masses of it. You know, it was just masses of this black, slimy sort of creature. And Jane said, "I'm not touching that. I'm no way am I even going near it." Because I got no idea how to cook octopus, so I chopped it up as best I could and cooked the tentacles.
I remember my mother cooking it. She was boiling it with salt and pepper. And then she was taking the octopus out. She started to cut it up. But I'll never forget my father always drinking the juice that was left in the pot.
The black ink, I suppose, is it?
No, it wasn't black ink. It was just water with salt, pepper, and a bit of juice from the octopus, like the taste of it. And he always said that it was the best thing you could drink to avoid the flu and the cold.
Yeah, they say that octopus ink's pretty good for you, but I mean, this thing looked like something out the Alien. You know, I mean, it's just horrible, really.
Oh, you should ask Daniel.
Of course, you know.
Every time we go down to Naples, I eat every single day the octopus salad. I can't live without it. And then I'm here and I can't eat it.
I had it in Spain, and they just cooked it with a blowtorch. They just blowtorched it and then give it to you. Ugh, it was horrible. Yeah.
Oh, my friend Nello actually in Naples has he calls it what do you call it? It's like a sushi bar, but it's not a sushi bar. It's Neapolitan sushi. So basically, it takes the sushi and he makes it in Neapolitan ways, even with Neapolitan food, like mozzarella, for example.
Okay. Yeah. That guy Nello has some weird stuff, doesn't he? He introduces Japanese food and things into his cuisine, doesn't he?
But that's why he's my best friend. Otherwise, if he's not crazy, he cannot be my friend.
Yeah. Just to say to those that are just joining us, it's just me and Domenico having a chat today, and you're all welcome to join us and join.
Yeah, we got TV joining us from the Friday Live.
Yeah, so it's more about us. It's not so much a psychic type thing tonight. You know, I'm not making any predictions or psychic stuff, although we always end up talking about that type of stuff.
We got John from Adelaide. Whoa, that's pretty early.
Jose Rimpochon. Yeah. No, it's not Zoom.
We got Nana. Nana is with us today again. Hello there.
If someone like Jose's got his camera set up, he could always bring extra people in, couldn't we?
Jose, if you want to join us, just send a message.
If we dare.
We'll just send you the link. You join us. You can join us now, actually. We're live. So
yeah, so we're live. So we can always link you in. We can always link people in and come in on the
video.
video.
Our phone with us, so if you want to join us, send us a message and we'll send you the link.
How would he send you a message then? By
just
Facebook?
Private message. I have him on Facebook. You can send me a private message on Facebook.
Yeah. So you can join in if Bianca's got it all set up there. So like I say, guys, we're just having a chat, me and Domenico, about what life, the universe, everything, you know. And
Nirvana likes your shirt.
Yes, I've been out playing rugby, of course, today. That's what it's all about.
Play rugby.
Yeah, I did play rugby at school for a while.
Fried octopus is nice. That's true. Octopus is nice in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I think I think during lockdown everybody's been eating better, haven't they? Really, I don't know about you lot there, but I mean, we've been cooking our own food, or Jane's been cooking our own food, and it's I definitely feel better for it health wise.
Well, I got Danielle that instead of buying bread, she just bought the flour and she started to make the stuff at home. So
yeah,
we ended up buying, how much was like 20 kilos worth of flour?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a sack of potatoes. We bought a sack of flour at one point. I ordered some right in the first lockdown. I ordered some toilet rolls from China because there was no toilet rolls anywhere.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember. Actually, if you remember when the first lockdown came out, I was telling everybody about just go and take whatever is like toilet paper and this stuff before the lockdown happened, because it was happening in Italy. So I saw my friend and family down there taking all this stuff. So I know we're going to Costco, we're just going to buy everything and don't care. So we filled up with Nutella, bread, flour, drinks, toilet paper, quite a lot. Especially because for how cheap is in Costco, it was the best thing to do.
I supposed to have got 100 rolls from China. It was a massive. I'll buy a whole load, and it was imported from China. And these toilet rolls were about this big. They were sort of like you put them in a doll's house,
But then don't you have fear when you order from China now?
Oh, I hate buying from China.
But then you think about it and you're like, well, the virus is everywhere. So from wherever I risk it.
It was rubber gloves on everything, wasn't it? I mean, I went out today and people are just not out there social distancing at all. I was quite rude to a few people, actually, because they just don't seem to pay any attention. I don't know if other people are getting the same problem.
Jack is saying hi from Mumbai. It's 1:46 in the morning. Bloody hell, that's early or late.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So would you like to watch it?
Yeah, asking about when the golden age is going to come. I mean, that's something I've been talking about a lot lately, haven't I? With Jane.
Jackie from Kentucky. 2:15 p.m. That's better time.
Yeah. So those are just a general chat me in Domenico tonight. Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah. So this is more just.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. This one is an interesting question. Have either of you had experience with UFOs? Diana asks.
I had one.
Oh, you want to go first?
I don't know. I mean, well, I'll tell you what mine was, and it was going back. Well, the two really, but the one was really. It was just that we went to Glastonbury and we got the dates wrong. This is going back in 1970s, and we were going to Glastonbury, and we ended up we got all our dates wrong, and the Glastonbury Festival wasn't actually on, and we slept out on the hills in Glastonbury in the summertime. And we were laying there and sleeping under the stars. And there was this triangle of stars we were watching in the sky. And I go, what's that triangle of stars? And it was just static in the sky. And then all of a sudden it went, and it shot across the sky at a speed that no aeroplane or helicopter or anything else could have done. And I was looking at saying to them, oh, I don't think I ever believe in UFOs. I mean, I think people fantasize about it. Thing bloody shot across the sky. I was so shocked by that, because there was absolutely no way you could have explained the speed it shot across the sky. It just, it wasn't like an aeroplane. It was just woomph. And I remember my auntie also saw the one down by Warsash in Southampton too, and that shook her rigid when she saw it. But that's all. Have you seen anything then, Domenico? I'll be more interested in your stuff than.
That's the funny story. I had different experiences. They go from when I was a child, like 6 or 7, till my adulthood. Basically, the first episode was in Naples. our apartment had a big terrace, and my parents used to have a lot of dinners with friends. So there were friends with their kids. We were all there having dinner during summer. Naples is pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were celebrating a birthday, and we saw in the sky this little white dot that started to move, like on one side, really in a straight line, really fast, and then it stopped and it went up, and then again on the other side, and then it stopped and it went up again. Then it changed again, and then it disappeared.
Okay.
And that's not only me that saw it. Even my mom, she still remembers it.
Yeah. You see, the weather balloon,
second one,
like that swings, and that would look a bit odd because that from above. But the way they move erratically, didn't they? The thing, what I saw was totally erratic. It couldn't have been.
The second time was myself, my sister, and my cousin. We were in Cassano. That's a small village up the mountain near Avellino, in Italy, and that's where my grandparents' house was. So every summer we're spending 1 month there. And we were going up in the village, and we saw this light in the sky following us and then disappearing, nothing, and it was really fast.
Really?
And we were so scared, we just ran.
Yeah.
Still in that area, I was with my father in the car. We were driving back home. It was dark. It wasn't night, but it was dark.
Yeah.
And we saw this massive ball of light just starting to go behind the mountains. And then it disappeared, but it was like not the sun. It was like 11 in the night. And this massive one, but it was like a ball of light, just a proper ball of light that you could see pretty fine. And my father had to stop the car because he couldn't understand what it was. And then we just wash it out. The last time actually was with you.
Yeah, quite a lot,
we
then.
didn't see the UFO, but we saw a crop circle.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty weird too, wasn't it? I mean, I have not doubts. My skeptic mind jumps in with those crop circles, but I must say it was quite an exciting adventure, wasn't it? Going to see that. We got it on the videos there on the main site, haven't we? But
yeah,
was
and
great.
We still have the other videos of it and the meeting with them people.
They're absolute fanatics, weren't they? They were complete. They were like something off the.
They were following every single crop circle in the UK, and they were going to see it, whatever it was. They're a bit like alternatives, like songs of flowers. I don't know how you call them. But yeah.
Anyway, great hobby to do, isn't it? Chasing down crop circles makes you feel like ghost hunters, isn't it? The same sort of idea.
Yeah, Nana says that they say that the Earth is hollow, and UFOs come and go there. The inner Earth has its own ecological system and a man-made sun. Well, this actually, I was reading about it because there is this theory that inside the Earth there is another Earth with animals and people, and UFOs are not are just these.
Hitler used to believe this, Domenico.
It's a pretty common belief.
Yeah,
but and actually there is the Screams of Purgatory. That's an audio that was recorded by an expedition in the North Pole. They started to dig through the ice, and they went really deep down, and all of a sudden they start to hear these things that sounded like human screams.
Yeah.
Of course, scientists said that actually it's just wind in the tunnels that produce this noise. Let me see if I can find the video, because another thing that we can do is sharing it.
Yeah. Well, Jules Verne, of course, that was a fantastic book. I think it was Jules Verne, wasn't it? Journey to the Center of the Earth, or was it?
Yep, exactly.
Jules Verne, wasn't it? I remember reading that as a kid, and also The First Men on the Moon, or something that H.G. Wells wrote about, where he goes under the moon and they find this underground world, underground city of ants. I mean, I think some science fiction ideas are fantastic, but I remember. The Hitler believed in the idea and his theories of ice and fire and things like that. I seem to remember. I don't remember the full details of it, but he believed on the hollow Earth theory. I mean, that doesn't make a lot of sense, really, because I mean, obviously, you drill down and you find magma.
It could be. And I think I need to change the camera because mine is telling me that it's too hot for it.
Oh, really? Well, I'll just keep taking. I'll answer a few questions to people if you've got to sort of do that.
I've done it.
Oh, you did already.
Hey, I'm
Oh,
the
right.
IT guy here.
Different color light too when you do that. It shows the different intensity of the sound, the light heat.
Yeah, that's the problem with this camera. This little Sony camera. This
It's a good camera though. We've shot a lot on that already, haven't we? Really, a tiny little camera.
Yeah, I mean, look at the size compared to an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that when you start to record in 4K, you start to overheat.
Yeah, and also when you edit in 4K, you see that's the other problem we have with the computers. We've got pretty good computers.
Well, not you. You have no problem
I
with.
know, but we still, you know, when we shot that Mystic Journey to India, we actually had to edit that on some really old equipment, and it was all shot on what's called a RED. You know, a RED, of course, but that was it was like a massive, great camera we took with us, really, to India. Completely impractical, but fantastic 4K resolution because we were trying to make it so that it could get onto Netflix. So that was quite a. But editing, God, what a nightmare that was for the guys that edited it for us. They was fantastic.
Yeah. Angie's saying camera made in China. No, actually, this one is made in Japan. Sony, Canon, and Nikon cameras are still made in Japan, and that's why they're so expensive.
Really?
Oh yeah, they
Pretty
are.
much everything is made in China, though, isn't it?
Well, wherever you look, wherever you go, most of the stuff is made in China. Although, for example, this little tripod, that's made in Italy.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Manfrotto, one of the most famous brand for tripods.
Yeah,
They're expensive as hell.
Of course, you know, we talk equipment a lot because Domenico, as you know, is in the behind the scenes for all the things that Jane and myself do. But also when we go out in the field, we've got quite a lot of kit now, haven't we? Really, but it's
you can see some
on the cheap. But it's all we got everything we need.
You can see some behind me.
Yeah,
got it there on the shelf.
Fantastic drone, which we're not able to use at the moment because of all this lockdown.
Actually, I was wondering if we can get like a pass to film.
Yeah.
Record the documentary of the current situation. Actually, it would be nice to make a documentary of the current situation, seen from a psychic point of view.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And in fact, if anybody's got any ideas about what you think you'd like to see us filming, particularly getting out and making kind of, more investigative type of things. I mean, what sort of things are popular with people out there? You know, give us some ideas. Because we did start a great one, didn't we, on the evolution of consciousness? Do you remember that one where we went and saw this absolutely crap?
I have to find where I have saved the videos, actually.
We've got to have to show that. We must show people that because, you know, this place down in Southsea that's a sort of it's an evolution museum, but it's done by born again Christians, isn't it? So in actual fact, it shows you evolution, but when you look at it, you think, hey, just a minute, this is all wrong, you know. And what it basically
they did have dinosaurs. They did have dinosaurs. They did have dinosaurs in it.
And the dinosaurs were hilarious, weren't they? like something out of Sesame Street, you know.
I told you we need to go there once all this situation is gone and just have an interview with the guy.
Yeah.
With the owner.
Because we were kind of tying it in with the idea of evolution. Because, you know, I mean, I think a lot about this idea. Does consciousness evolve? You know, I mean, and we've talked about this, haven't we, you and me before? But and so we thought, well, we'll go along and we'll use this museum as the basis of, you know, filming there. Can we film? You know. But do you remember some of the stuff they were making? Sweeping statements about evolution without any scientists would have absolutely died. Well, I just thought it was hilarious. It was just brilliant, you know. So that
is it the Genesis Expo Museum?
Yeah, that's it. The Genesis.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
everybody must go and see. You must go and see that if you live local.
The website is down.
Yeah, hopefully they still keep going. We'll have to send them a donation to make sure they keep going. Yeah, bonkers as hell that was. I've been actually reading some good stuff lately about this idea of the evolution of consciousness, actually, Domenico. Particularly, actually, I've got it here, actually. A guy called Anthony Peake wrote this book called Is There Life After Death? An Extraordinary Science of What Happens When We Die. But it's not like your usual stuff, because he's very much into this idea that Ouspensky and Nietzsche talked about, of this idea of eternal recurrence, that we don't actually ever die. What we do, his theories is that when we die, what happens? We just come back to the start again and relive this life all over again, but in a slightly different way. So we sort of do the same things, but we've learned a bit this time round, and we just do it all, but do it all slightly differently. And the idea that it goes, it just goes on indefinitely in an everlasting circle. I mean, Nietzsche went scatty with it. He wrote the books like Thus Spoke Zarathustra and things like that. And he went bonkers with this whole idea in the end. And Gurdjieff also took up this idea too from Nietzsche, and Ouspensky particularly picked up on it. But it's some very interesting stuff. And Anthony Peake I wrote to him actually, and he wrote to me, because when I read it, I was listening to it on audio. I put my ear things in and I listened to it on Audible, and I just finished. And I thought I'd ordered the book because I'd buy a secondhand copy of the book because I want to look back on some of these things. The book arrived. I turned off. It was talking about things like coincidences. I turned off the audio recording, and then the book came, and it had one page turned over like that, and it was turned over on exactly the sentence that I just turned the audio recording off. And it was right on the page, and and it was folded down so it touched the line, and the line said, what did it say? It says, because I stopped, because I turned off, I thought that's a good idea, what he was saying, and it said on the line, it said, as some scientists have jokingly stated, time is nature's way of stopping everything happening all at once. But joking aside, there's a greater degree of truth in this. And I turned the recording off. I thought, that's interesting, that time is to stop everything happening all at once. And then this weird coincidence happened as I was reading the book. And he writes a lot in here about coincidence. And I thought that was really remarkable. But good look, it's a pretty thick book. It's not a sort of just a leaflet. And yet I turned it off on exactly that point. And I thought, it made me really think about the idea of coincidence and whether we going through the same circumstances over and over again, because he says things like coincidences happen because it's like we get a glimpse through that, a judder, a glimpse through that eternal, ever cycling time, as it were. It's like it's hard to explain it all because it's a complicated book.
Remember, this one was the discussion we were having a few months ago, actually. That's something we were talking about when we were still able to meet.
When we went that walk down the river and it was all full of mud down the back of your place.
No, that's when we went to what actually was the evening that I was following the live you were doing from your home, and you had to drive me back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got quite into a deep conversation, didn't we?
About the parallel universe and consciousness and the spirit and all these things, in which I have this theory that there are an infinite number of parallel universes, and this one is proven scientifically. Well,
yeah, and that's what he talks about.
That life is just a mix of all these universes, one into each other. So what happened? Every time you have a deja vu is because you already lived that experience in another universe, but in that moment your spirit mixed up with the spirit from the other universe, and that's when the change happened. Like the stupid example, you go to the fridge and then you forget what you were doing about. it happened. You go into a room and you're like, why am I in this room now?
Mm.
Or you start to search for something. Like imagine you're looking for a document and all of a sudden in the document in drawer, you find a book you forgot you had. You thought you lost it or you threw it
Yeah.
away. That's because in a universe, you threw it away. It was lost. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the other
This is very
universe that
what he
mixed up
said.
together, that thing was still there. And
Mm.
your brain plays the card of a moment of distraction, something happened that you didn't think about, and that's why you found it. Oh, it was there, I forgot I put it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
then
he said the
once
things. Yeah. Go on,
once
man.
once our life ends, it doesn't actually end. We just restart from scratch, like in a video game. Every time
Yeah.
we die, whether it's for an accident, whether it's for old age, whether it's for a virus, for whatever reason, it's just like in a video game. We just restart from a certain point. Actually, we do not restart from the beginning all the time. We start from any point.
Yeah, and we end at any point too. We might have multiple deaths. So some of the times along that timeline, we might have died some point, but actually the next time round we go round the circle again. We live at we might have passed that death point, had a car accident or something, come out of it, walk away unscathed, and then carry on. And it's a fascinating concept.
I can tell you one experience I had when I was 18. I was young. I just had my driving license, and I was driving from Naples back home with my friends in the car. And
Yeah.
once I was driving back, I had this deja vu of a car coming out of the road and hitting us really badly. And I was so scared I had to park the car. And in the moment I parked the car, a car just flew from the road that was right in front of us. And if I didn't stop, it would have hit us.
Yeah.
But I had the deja vu. So does this mean that in another universe I lived that experience?
Will to change it. Yeah. He says one of the thoughts he puts, what I thought was a very interesting idea, and it's a bit like this when I try to see things in the future. He says we have a memory of the past, but because we go through this eternal cycle, as it were, we also therefore have a memory of the future. And I've often found that sometimes if I'm trying to make my predictions, the best ones come when it comes to me like a feeling of like I remember it. Like I remember it. So he says that a psychic person can therefore only remember things that are in the scope of his lifetime and won't remember things beyond the scope of his lifetime, because he would not be in that cycle of eternal recurrence to be able to make the memory happen. I mean, I'm not sure I necessarily agree with all this, but I mean, there's plenty of food for thought there, and I do find it does sort of ring true when you start thinking about these ideas of an infinite universe. You know, like if there's an infinite universe, everything that possibly can happen will happen and has happened.
Yeah, exactly. It did.
Yeah.
Actually, it did. Everything that could happen, or that, and that's the story of the multiple universe. With the
Yeah.
difference that you will have. Let me see if you'll be able to see it.
And if anybody's got questions, put your questions in, or ideas and thoughts. You know, I mean, we'll put some of them up soon.
So you have this one that is our universe, okay?
Yes.
And then you have all the possibilities that start to be next to each other, but at the same time they are in. Let's put it in this way, okay? This one is our here. This one is our universe, okay? Those are all the universes that are on the same level, but next to each other. This means that from this universe, you can go to this one, to this one, to this one, or this one, but you cannot go to this one down here, for example. Because to arrive at that point, you need to pass through all the other universes, all the different things that happen in them universes. But then when you start to jump between the universes, you start to get into different one. And that, for example, is why deja vu happen, or why you find things, or why you have memories that you didn't know you had. But then even the theory, there is a theory that is going around from a few months now. John Tudor or Tudor, what was his name? John Tudor. John Titor. It's a famous name that came out. Sorry, John
Yeah,
Titor
don't
is
worry. I forget things all the time. I forget my own name, Domenico.
basically is the story of this person that says he started to write on forum and boards saying that he was a time traveler coming from the future,
Yeah.
and that it was coming from 2036 or 2030, something like that. And basically, it was basically saying that he knew everything and he came back to make a change. Now the story is, if this is true, like if time travel is possible, is it considered time travel or universe travel? So you travel in the different parallel universes.
And we're going back to the UFOs. I think this is more likely to be we would travel physically between universes, and if we were to connect with other alien peoples, I mean, it would come through something like that, not through spaceships, not through Star Trek type things, but by changing our position, as it were, in that universe. And of course, we could even move our consciousness into different levels. I mean, if I can move my consciousness into the afterlife, why can't I also move my consciousness into different time stratas or even other different universes? Because surely the connecting principle with all these things is probably our consciousness, our awareness. That's the only thing I think that is consistent throughout the universe. Even light is not consistent, time is not consistent, but surely consciousness is consistent. Anyway, that's one thought.
There is Ginger T saying that he's watching a show on Netflix called Surviving Dead.
I just saw the one on reincarnation. My God, that's absolutely brilliant. Go and watch it. When you finish here tonight, guys, go and watch Surviving Death. Some fantastic evidence on there.
Have you heard of that man that was deemed clinically dead for 14 minutes, and then he came back, and then he even won the lottery?
All right, I don't know about that. I don't know that story.
In 1999,
really,
there is a story of another man that actually got hit by not thunder. How you call it? Lightning.
All right, yeah.
And other thing, let me just make a quick search.
One or two people have got hit by lightning into absolute dozens of times. I remember reading about a book of coincidences, actually. But that
is
thing. Go and see it, everyone. It is fantastic. I mean, they do trance mediums, which I thought was pretty good. The Dutch guys were pretty good. Or I didn't feel that comfortable about the trance medium that was doing the physical mediumship. I always worry about that physical mediumship stuff. But I thought a lot of those mediums there did seem to be very sincere in that Dutch place. Although I didn't like the physical medium woman. And there was some fantastic evidence on there about near-death experiences. And the reincarnation one, blew my mind, that last one, that very last episode. I won't spoil it for you. But some of the things that the children were saying about past lives, I mean, if that evidence is as they've presented it on the channel there, I mean, it's groundbreaking. It's bigger than the Bloxham tapes that were done by the BBC all those years ago. Absolutely fantastic.
When you talk about past life, memories of past life, you see, that's the other point with the parallel universe. If our life is repeating over and over again, why don't we have memories of future lives?
Yeah, and I tell you what, if it was, no, I don't think it's actually the case. I think we got to think around that thing because it is part of the whole concept of, trying to understand our place in the universe. But supposing you were living in this eternal loop, as it were, but you were in Belsen, and your life was eternal suffering, I mean, why would that be the case for one person and not for another? There has to be multiple lives. There has to be a linear process in life. But
you know why?
We go through this eternal thing from the afterlife. We review this life over and over again. We run it through like this is a memory now that my consciousness can penetrate again from the afterlife. In fact, I could be dead now in the afterlife, rerunning this memory that we're talking now from another perspective, from another dimension, which is the afterlife after I've died. See,
Well,
I might be ready.
That is actually
closer.
That is actually the theory that in the moment we die, like a minute before, 1 or 2 minutes before, we relive all our life, like not the memories only, but we would relive every single moment of our life in just a short time. So who can tell us that we are not dead and we are just living that moment now?
That's right. That's what I say. It could, yeah, that could equally be the case. And there's another concept, another thing that I really liked in those stuff, the ideas by Anthony Peake there in that book that I was talking about at the beginning. He also talked about this idea the Greeks had of this idea that there's a Damien, that we have like an
overself, in bed.
Yeah, like Damien, you know, like our grandson's Damien. Like there's an overself, like there's a side of ourselves that kind of is what Nostradamus called the spirit splendorous, or something he called it, which is like he used to connect with what he called the spirit splendorous or something, majestic spirit splendorous or something like that. But he would connect with this, and that was like his overself that could see all over. There's this idea of the Damien, and then also this other self, this idea or something it's called, which is like our normal small I. So we got the small self and the bigger self that has this overview of things. It's an idea that also comes up in Indian teachings as well. Sri Aurobindo, I can never get his name right. Anyway, also came up with this idea that there's an overself that we have, and that overself might be existing on another timeline to where we are here. So there's another aspect of a self. This is also comes in some ideas of a guy called Dunn or Dune, and that there's another, like they're running parallel, these things, but this other self sees further ahead. It's like being on a train and all we can see is out the window what's going by. This is my normal self. We see flash, flash. We can see a tiny little bit ahead, which is like seconds ahead. But if we were to sit on top of the train, we'd see the whole thing coming by, not just the stations flashing by, but we see the whole thing coming by. And that's like a second self that we have, an over self that can see ahead and can also see right behind. And we all have that. We have, like, one of us is sat on the roof of the train and one of us is in the train. The one that's in the train is seeing linear time. Thump, 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 it's going by piece by piece, times like running like a film. But when you're on the top, you see time in a different way. And perhaps in the spirit world, it's a bit like being on top of the train. We see that timeline in a different way. I mean, these are all mind-boggling ideas.
I can't say
I know the answer, but you know, fascinating.
I think once we're gone, the idea of time will be gone with the idea of human physical things. Time is a human construct. If you go on another planet, you won't have time as we. We celebrate New Year's Eve, but actually it's just the Earth going around the sun, doing a revolution around the sun. And we're celebrating it.
A bit like that. Time happens all at once. You know, I mean, everything can happen all at once. I see Niccolo Avocado's on again. Hi there, guys.
Yeah, we got Nico Avocado here. Actually, Nico, I'd love to have a private chat with you if you can one day. Anyway, he's asking if there will be any major alien site in our lifetime. I think you touched this topic with Jane, but I can give you the scientific one if you want, because there is NASA that is preparing few missions on southern moons, and they actually are sure 100% that there is life on Europa, one of southern moons.
Well, they can't be.
The thing is that we need to understand. We need to specify that alien lives in science is not only something like us with arms and legs and eyes and that can communicate. It could be even bacteria. It could be just cells, like normal cells. Even plants are considered alien life if they are on other planets.
Yeah, I mean, Mars could sustain life way before the Earth could, but it lost its atmosphere. So, I mean, the exploration might show fossilized life from the past.
It seems that there is water underneath Mars surface. That's a discovery that NASA has done.
And the flows there's flow lines on Mars that suggest there were streams and water there at some point. I mean, Sharavana, who I go and see, you know, I'm very interested in as a man. He's also doing some really good videos actually at the moment on Facebook and things. You look for him. But he was saying that we originated on Mars. He felt, you know,
there is a theory. There is the theory that we actually were on another planet. That could have been Mars or could have been another one. We, as humans, destroyed the planet, like we're doing to our planet now. So we have to find a way of finding another place to live. So different spaceships were organized and they were sent out in the universe to find new places. The one that arrived on this planet was actually the one that created the, you know, the story of the meteor that destroyed all the dinosaurs.
Oh, that was us coming to Earth.
Actually was one of these spaceship that came here. The occupant of the spaceship, man and woman, Adam and Eve, they actually died in that time, but their bacteria and everything started to develop in the primordial, how would you call it, soup?
Yeah.
And from there, everything was evolved.
Yeah.
And there is another theory that
you just travel across space. You know, it takes you such a long time. You know,
there are actually so many theories, and especially there is one that I follow quite a lot. I find it pretty interesting, and is actually there is life everywhere in the universe, and that's provable. Not proven, but provable. It's like taking with your hand a bunch of sand in your hand and saying, only on this little sand grain there is life, all the rest doesn't have it. That's impossible. The universe is massive. There is life in another planet. But the theory I want to talk about now basically says that originally on the planet there were only animals. And by animals I talk about even monkeys, dogs, and stuff like that. Then what happened? An alien race arrived on this planet because it's traveling around the universe to take minerals, gold, and all this stuff off the planets. The scientists were asked to dig and to start to work as miners to dig out all these minerals. But they got angry, and what they've done, instead of working by themselves, they took monkeys, they took the DNA, they modified it, and they made humans out of it. And from that DNA, from that humans, they became the slave. They were the one that were mining and taking all the minerals out and all these things. But then another alien race arrived. This one was the good one. This one was the one that wanted everybody to have their own choice on their future. If they wanted to be slave or free, it was up to them. There was a fight, a big war in space between these two races, and at the end they arrived to give this choice in which they would leave humanity free for a number of thousands of years. And once the time arrived at the end, then the humanity will be the one choosing if they want to be slave or not. One of the rules was none of the two alien races could interfere with humanity. So they could not come here and make us, forcing us to take a choice. But then what happened? These, the bad ones, the one that want to make us slave, came on this planet and they start to mix with us, faking that they're our friends. And they started to create political situations, way of life that are pushing humanity to be a slave. The other one had to intervene somehow, but they're still trying to keep themselves off everything, but and still want the humanity to be the one that makes the choice. Now think about it, and those are the points that interest me, because they make me think that this could be a truth. First off, the aliens that wanted to make human slaves, they look like us because they had to take their DNA, mix it with monkeys, to then make us humans as their slaves. They look like us. They are tall, blonde, blue eyes, and stuff like that, okay? If I tell you blonde, blue eyes, tall, nice, with nice smile and white skin, who would you think about?
Aryan races and things. Yeah.
Angels?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
The other race, hold on. The other race, the one that wants to free the humanity and let them make their choice, they look like reptiles. If I tell you about who is the reptile in the Bible that says, "Eat of this fruit, and you will have the knowledge of your gods."
Mm-hmm.
Snake. If you look in the Egyptian religion, the snake is the god of knowledge. If you look in the Mayan religion, the snake is the god of knowledge. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at the Aztec religion, same story. Chinese, they have dragons, that they are the good ones. Even the ancient Greek believed that there was a god that stole the fire of knowledge from the gods and brought it to humans.
I mean, I'm particularly interested in the Ramayana, which is the Indian text. It's one of the most holy Indian texts, and I'm reading it at the moment. And when you read it about the monkey armies, right, and you read about the dragons, and you read about the temples that can fly, and you seem to get this sort of suggestion in there that there's two types of races of people, and then also in those similar texts, and also hinted at there in that one, there was this talk about the Naga, which are the Indian. There was a Naga people that live on another level, another plane of existence, another lokar they call them, and those people were snake people. And it talks about the snake people, and that the humans killed and took the knowledge from the snake people and turned it against them. So it was as if the aliens, the snake people, the reptilian type people, were the good guys, but we took their technology, took their knowledge, which was not so much a technology, but they talked in terms of the power of consciousness, like consciousness bombs, a mantra that can be like a nuclear bomb. They perhaps those that master consciousness have these,
If you think
so
about
it's all in that lot.
If you think about it, in most religions, the one that are good are actually, if you look at what they've done, they're not the good ones. And if you think about it, imagine that I'm an alien, my race looks like me, everybody looks like me, and I want to make your race, humanity, a slave. What am I going to tell you? I'm the bad one, do what I tell you, or I'm going to tell you the other one is the bad one? How many times read it on the news, reptilians are bad, they want to conquer the world? How many times, even in religion, the snake is bad? Or the Bible, the snake is bad, angels are good, and all these things. So if you take it in this other optic, in this other theory that is going around from ages now,
you
would
I
think
mean, the ancient has been been around since the time of von Däniken, and before, of course. But I mean, he was the first.
Well, before von Däniken, it just took the theory, but the theory is good century old. If you look in the books, actually, in India there has been a war in the sky, and they talk about the Vimana, these machines that were used to fly, that they got used to fly. If you talk in Germany, there is actually an old manuscript that talks about a war in the sky in Germany.
And a lot of things, I've seen it too. And the idea that the Atlantis was driven by this mysterious chemical called vril that could levitate and move objects. And when I went round to those temples in India, and I was talking to the locals, as it were, the people that still had the old stories, and these were sort of like folklore. These weren't things in books. They still believed that all these stones and things that were put into these temples were levitated. And they talked about, that Shiva perhaps was some other being that had come from the skies and had done these things. So when we start seeing all these stories of these superhuman gods, maybe we're talking about other visitors. I mean, that's definitely possible, isn't it? I mean, it's definitely.
Well,
I think back to Nicolado Avocado's question, will we find it? Will we get some discovery?
We will get, I do believe in our lifetime, we will get discoveries such as there are bacteria or small form of life in the near universe.
Intelligent life he's asking about, really, isn't he? Will we ever connect with intelligent life? I think we're ripe for it. Perhaps they wait until mankind is ready, and I think perhaps it's when we're on our knees. And maybe these super people like Sai Baba, for example, a lot of people say he is not human. He maybe came from another dimension or level. Who knows what's out there.
The thing is that I believe it will even depend on which government will find out first. If it's going to be something, because
blow the gaff on a lot of this, because he's going to start. I reckon he's going to be out there spilling the beans on everything he can possibly knows about. And I bet the UFOs are going to be in this somewhere too.
But that's the thing. I mean, if somebody like Boris Johnson would come to know that there are UFOs, and the UFOs will come, and you say, "Take me to your leader," and we'll take him to Boris Johnson, they're gonna be like, "I thought there was intelligent life on this planet."
Go back. Let's see if you got any more questions coming up there, Domenico. I mean,
actually William saying that there has been a signal from very close by Alpha Centauri. Actually, there has been another discovery for a signal coming from a planet 40 light years away. And although 40 light years might sound a lot, it's actually not that much if you can travel at the light speed of light.
The one that comes up in the mythology all the time is the Seven Sisters. This is another whole discussion, isn't it, about the Seven Sisters? They and all the myths of the world. And when you look at the Seven Sisters in the sky, they're nothing particularly gripping about them as a constellation, and yet it comes up. Even to the Aborigines talk about the visitors from the Seven Sisters. It's in India, it's in China, it's in South America. It's absolutely in everywhere. As another whole interesting one. And the Egyptians, of course, like Nana's talking about there. I mean,
Egyptians have it actually.
Seven Sisters.
Actually, remember, I'm still writing it. A book about the things in common between all the religions in the world, and not only religions, but even what other tribes believed. And you'd be amazed to find out how many things are so similar between places that never met with each other. One of the stupid one, for example, is the story of Jesus. That actually is a copy of the Egyptian.
Well, it was Mithrilism. The Jesus story, the idea of the Christ, the idea of the anointed one.
It was copied from Horus.
Paul was a Mithralist. And so that was the old Roman religion, which went back to the Egyptian stuff too.
The story of Jesus people are saying that it was copied from the story of Horus because they are exactly the same. But then when the people were able to find the story of Horus, not talking even that the Bible has been wrongly translated. The original translation, it doesn't talk about a single god, it talks about multiple gods. In fact, it's a plural name. So
there's a lot of fast. I mean, you're unconscious mind.
Diana just gave us a super sticker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You'll be able to also do another thing what we're setting up just for this little channel that me and Domenico go, where you can buy as a coffee or buy as a
simple coffee. There is no monthly subscription. It's nothing. It's just a coffee for Craig, a pizza for me.
Yeah, you can literally get a few quid just to sort of say, "Oh, we like this channel. We'll help you push it forward." This isn't part of the
down in the description.
Yeah, it'll be in the description below later on. Oh, that was really interesting chat there. Any other thoughts?
Elohim, that's right. I forgot about them. Elohim.
Yeah. Sorry?
The Elohim, those are the ones that are in the Bible.
Okay, yeah. And the what was that? The book of
and I do agree with Steve. I do agree with him. The general population is not right for it. If there are alien races out there in the universe that could travel to this planet, they have both the knowledge, the intelligence, and the firepower to destroy us. So
yeah, I think do it into chaos, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, it would
so now,
and suddenly you're going to change, or whatever,
If you imagine like. If we're talking now, okay, we're having a chat together, we got people following us, thank you very much, and then remember to subscribe if you want.
Yeah.
Imagine all of a sudden a spaceship will arrive outside my window. I think there will be panic all around the world because we don't know if they're going to be good, if they're going to be bad, if they're going to do anything bad, or even if you remember, and this one is in the video about the ghost photography. What if they are already here, but they are on a different vibration?
Yeah, they could be amongst us. Or we could even have one of those scenarios where, maybe they just take out, they possess a human being. I mean, certainly in spiritualism and things, you know, there's been plenty of cases of very strange possession, multiple personalities and things like this, you know, the faces of Eve and all those stories. I mean, what if they could just take you out? I could be an alien, you know, I could be, you could be, you know, my mum could be, you know, I think she probably is. But, you know, we
got
don't
an
know.
Italian. Ciao Silvia.
Oh,
Benvenuta. So yeah, no, back to the topic.
Thanks for that, guys. Yeah,
they might be here. They might be here. They might be on a different level, and only when we will reach that level, whether spiritually or with our minds, then we will be able to see them. But for sure, one thing I can say is that the only news we will have about aliens in our lifetime, so yours and mine, considering is another 50 years more or less, hopefully. If you go like your mom, then it's going to be another 100 years. We will have news about alien lives on other planets, but it's going to be more bacterial life.
Yeah, the first thing we'll ever discover is going to be some form. If we can prove even that life is capable outside of Earth, you know, I mean, if Earth, I think it was Sager that said, Carl Sager said that the most frightening idea is that there isn't life anywhere else. You know, that we are alone in this universe. You know, and that brings the idea that, you know, one day the sun is going to become a red dwarf and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you know, the Earth will get absorbed into it, or we might by that time have enough technology to be able to move to some of the outer planets and start living on the moons of Uranus or wherever, you know, but eventually it gets so big that the sun will just absorb all the planets and there would be no Earth. You know, the time will come when there's no Earth. And if we are alone in the universe and we are not capable of being able to move to other stars, it means that life, consciousness, the whole lot's gone. And actually, that's the most frightening concept from a materialist point of view. Certainly, obviously, we go on the spirit world as far as I'm concerned. But the fact that we haven't been contacted, in many respects, is a bit unnerving, because by now we should have been contacted. You know, because there would have been civilizations that have been here millions of years ago that could have evolved to the highest levels of possibilities of evolution. And why haven't they, you know, connected to us? Or does it just happen that you get to a certain point, like we're getting to a certain point now, where you just destroy yourself? You know, you start getting like we're getting at the moment with all this craziness. Maybe you get to a certain point where there's too much population and we all get wiped out by viruses, or we all get so angry with each other we throw nuclear bombs at each other. And that's happened all the time throughout all history. And that's why we've never been contacted.
But that's, but then the question, there are actually two possibilities. One is this one, that the aliens come already. They already came here. They saw us fighting with each other and they were like, they are killing each other. They are not smart enough. So they just left us alone. There is the theory that says that we are actually in a sort of universal wall where the aliens just put us in because we are too dangerous.
Yeah, well, that probably is the case. We'll send them Trump and Biden, both of them. Scare them off. and Johnson as well, and Corbyn.
We'll have everybody there. Well, but actually, you know, it's not a bad idea. We'll just send them all there and we'll start from scratch here.
Yeah, again, like I said last night, I think Boo should be in charge of this world. Yeah.
Cats actually that say that they are aliens.
Well, the Egyptians used to see them as sacred. So who says? You know, this is the problem. Who says?
But actually, there is the theory that octopuses, now going back on the original first topic, the octopuses, they came from a different planet.
H.P. Lovecraft sort of stuff. Now we're getting onto, aren't we? Yeah.
But and about
someone here I see on the comments.
We'll send everybody. My cats are aliens, says Celia.
Coming up on the screen, but yeah, thanks, guys. We can both of us see your comments coming up on the side here, and actually we do kind of pay attention to some of them as well. If China doesn't destroy the environment and take over the world, that is. Yeah, actually, I'm not, as you probably know, I'm not particularly happy with China myself. I feel
Well, the
bad.
problem is not only China; it's everywhere in the world. It's any country. There are many that we could save. Like maybe
Yeah.
the few that could save themselves are the countries where there are like the small islands where there are tribes that have no technology, no knowledge of technology. Maybe them are the only ones that could save themselves because they are more connected with the nature than we are.
Yeah, that's important. I think the basic problem, I mean, David Attenborough said it, summed it all up. He did a fantastic talk I remember watching, and he was saying that there's the basic fact that all the problems of the world basically come down to one thing, and that is there's just too many of us. You know, there's just too many of us.
But to be fair, that we are not too many on this planet. It's not that the problem. The problem is different. If you take a country like Russia, how many
Yeah.
Pelosi and Schumer?
I just spotted that one. I thought that was great. We can clear the universe of all consciousness except our own.
We'll take all the politicians, whether left, right, or center, doesn't matter. We'll just send them all there and we start from scratch.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of all the people, I mean, just looking at the way our world is at the moment, all the people that are in charge of the nations of the world, the great leaders of the world, what a lot of bloody idiots we have, don't we? All of them, in all the countries of the world. There's the Canadians worrying about Trudeau. I mean, he's a bit of a twit. And then we got Biden and Trump, twits. And then we got all the politicians here in the UK, twits. Evil people in China and North Korea, as far as I'm concerned.
But the problem goes all back to the same exact point.
Eh?
The problem goes back to the same exact point, and that's greed.
Well, we choose people for the wrong reasons. We let people in that are powerful. I was saying to somebody today about Obama and things. They said, why can't we have some? And I said, well, even Obama is a multi-millionaire. To get in America, you've got to have huge amounts of money. We select people because of the money. We need to be selecting people because of the character. Their qualities, their values, their humanitarian things. We'd never get a Gandhi in this world again, the way it's going, because, those guys wouldn't even get a chance, wouldn't get a look in. That's why I say we're all at fault, really. I mean, we should start demanding that our people who run any form of organization, whether it be the police force or the local community hall, should be people of good character, not people that are just forcing their way in through ego or through greed or through wrong motives.
We will have to start with the first thing, and these. It doesn't matter your color, age, sex, religion. It doesn't matter anything of these. We should just respect each other and be good with each other.
Yeah.
Because I don't like when somebody's I had a big argument a couple of days ago on Facebook because somebody was complaining about one of the few thousands. Somebody was complaining because a guy on the Italian forum was asked to be called she.
Okay, yeah.
And now I understand that for some people it's stupid. But what changes in your life in changing the pronoun or changing just what does another person's life touch of your life so much that you are angry at these things?
Yeah. That's true.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
You have your ideas, okay? You know that politically talking, we are two opposite pole.
Oh yeah, we have complete opposite views.
But as you can see, we can have an own shot and we can have a laugh together.
That's right, and that should be the way with everybody. We should value the difference of other people. I mean, I wouldn't want. I mean, perhaps I would like a world where everybody agrees with me, but no, it wouldn't be a very nice world, would it? We need a world where we can have opposites, but we also have to have mutual respect for one another, and that's where so much has fallen down. The polarization. I mean, America's obvious, but everywhere there's polarization. I think this has an awful lot to do with. I think it also has a lot to do with social media too. The way we kind of we've become almost like an algorithm ourselves, and we filter out this and filter out that. We should value difference, and we should value, and I personally, I value criticism too, because they're often the people that can really help you move forward spiritually. That's why we get married in life, of course. But you know, if we just live within our own little bubble and we always think we're just right all the time, we lose touch with truth. We have to be challenged. Anything has to be challenged. So diversity is absolutely important, but we must also have this idea of unity within diversity, that there's diversity in the world, but whatever type of diversity, whether it be like the sexual type of, you know, gender type things that you're talking about there, or even ever any views that we might have, spiritual views, political views, views about anything, we must always value that there must always be a certain, beyond this, there's always a unity in diversity. We're all human beings. We're all searching for the truth. We're all trying to find our way in this universe, and we're all ignorant, because we wouldn't be here if we weren't. And we're all struggling towards higher understanding.
No, of course, it has to be on both sides. As I was saying before, if somebody would come to me and say, I don't like he, call me she, got no problems with it. But at the same time, if he goes to your house and he wants to go with a skirt and you ask him, can you please put trousers instead of a skirt? It's not a hard thing to do. It's just a little change that just makes everybody happy. It's respect with each other. It's helping.
And when we've done
about the media, about the news and everything that is going out, and the social media like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube itself, the first thing that everybody, whether you are a scientist or the person that works at the cash register in a shop, in a local store, in a small village, is always question, but learn to accept that sometimes the truth goes against your views.
Absolutely.
Like what I've learned to do is just state facts. When somebody asks about, like now Italians are asking, how can I want to come to the UK for work? The answer is only one. You need to get a visa now. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. I don't like it. I'm not happy with it, but those are the rules. That's the fact. I state them. Now, if you take, for example, in Italy, we have Salvini that is playing so much. But then you think about it and you see there is always the question, why would a politician be so angry about something? Why would he push the people with fake stuff and so on? And then you just need to make a quick search and start to understand that some people, whether it's a politician, whether it's a boss of a company, whether it's a colleague, sometimes they try to use the fake news and drive the mind of the people that are easily, how do you say, easily upsettable. Yeah. Because they have an agenda that is they want to get the money, they want to get the power. So they don't care if tomorrow you're going to die because the healthcare system has been privatized and you don't have the money to pay, because they get the money from other people. So they don't care about you. We should care about ourselves. We should help each other. One thing I found really nice when we moved to the new house is that the neighbors are friendly. We are making a nice neighborhood where we talk and we help with each other. We keep in touch. We keep an eye on each other's houses, something that we didn't have in the old one. We didn't know even who were our neighbors in the old one.
Yeah. So that's very bourgeois, actually, Domenico.
Accept each other's differences, even if they might go against your ideas.
Yeah, that's right.
Your life is not going to make any difference to your life. It's just about accepting it and respecting them, whichever side you are, whatever you believe, whatever you like, if you like a coffee ice cream and somebody else is like a strawberry ice cream, you eat your coffee ice cream, the other person eats the strawberry ice cream, we're all happy. That's it.
That's the Italian way of judging things in terms of ice cream.
Listen, I'm Italian.
Vedic astrology saying there, I see. So how do we go about changing this on a global level? I think the only way we can change it on a global level is to change it on the smallest level, the microcosm, ourselves first. I think we have to each individually become better people. I mean, we cannot understand truth unless we live by truth, unless we live honestly in this world and we live as decent people. And that's all it takes. Every person must start at the beginning. Start with yourself then start with your immediate environment around you, and then try to expand a bit further from there. You know, we have to live by example, don't we? We have to be those things, be those changes what you want to see in the world. That's what Gandhi said. Be the changes you want to see in the world. You couldn't get a better phrase than that, you know, with all these things we have to say.
The thing is that it's really easy. It's for some people, make that little change. It's really easy. And I tell you from personal experience, when I was a teenager, I was going around the city center of Naples with black paint on my nails, makeup, dressed up as a goth and all these things. And I had my cousin and my aunt phoning my father, telling him, oh, we saw Domenico there. And my father was coming to pick me up and beat me up because I was dressed up like that.
These are perennial things. I was a hippie, you know, and I had all long hair. And my dad actually threw me out the car when I said I refused to get my hair cut.
Hold on.
Throw him out. Walk home over haircut.
But they were all like this. But then what happened? My cousin's son, in his teenage era, like 10 years ago, more or less, he was 16, 17, basically came out as gay. And now they're absolutely fine with all these things. So they were able to make the change. Why didn't they make it for me?
Yeah, well, that's there's always going to be intolerance, you know, and all of us perhaps have intolerance now, and hidden intolerance sometimes towards things.
And it's not only that.
Got to change that 1950s sort of attitude, though. That was pretty ingrained for a long time.
But it's not only that. There is even the prejudice, the idea that you look at a person and you think you believe how the person is. And sometimes I found people from poor families being more open-minded and more friendly than rich people.
Well, it's the same on all levels, isn't it? I mean, there's intolerance amongst, I mean, in every strata of society, in every racial group, in every culture, in every country, there's good and bad, isn't there? Really? I mean, I know, you know, people that pretend to be spiritual and they're not spiritual in the slightest, you know, they're just on a crazy ego trip, you know, and is finding a decent honesty in people is very rare, actually. I think all we can do is try to be the best person we can be. I mean, at the end of the day, we can't change much in the world, really. We're never going to change it. The world's been a terrible, prejudiced, difficult place since the beginning of time.
But that's not true.
The only little bit we can change is ourselves. Well, I think it probably is. Even the sort of the grandiose times of old, the ancient Greeks, for example, that was built on slavery. You know, I mean, it was a slavery situation. Not everybody had democracy. Only the top layer of the society had democracy and could afford to be Plato or Aristotle or whatever. The rest were slaves, and Rome was built on blood and slavery. I mean, you think about every civilization through the world as built on an underclass. The Industrial Revolution was built on an underclass of chimney sweeps and people working in the mines and things like that. You know, so all through society, there's always been a thin number at the top that run it all and get all the benefit. One or two take it all and the rest suffer. But we can't change that. I don't think we can ever change it because it's always going to keep coming round and round and round. But I think the big things that change the world are usually big spiritual revolutions. When Christianity came into the world, when Buddhism came into the world, when there was an upsurgence and a rebirth of Hinduism, when there was Taoism took over. And, you know, I always think that spirituality, as opposed to religion, really, that often there's a big spiritual flowering when things start to go wrong. We can't change material things. And really, the whole purpose of human existence is not about all those stupid things outside. It's about us. We're passing through this world. Like Buddha said, we pass through this world like a bridge. We pass over a bridge of sorrows. Pass over it. Do not build on it, you know. And to understand that this world actually is just a transient place. And there's very little we can do, even though it might anger us with all the things that go on with politics and all the things that go on with people's attitudes and the rest of it. That's always going to leave us in a complete muddled state. But the thing we can change really is ourselves, to find, and not to run away from the world, but to develop ourselves, awaken ourselves, and then act upon the world as best we can in the best possible way we can. And that I think creates happiness in your own life, creates happiness in the people around you. And the more of us that think like this, because we can communicate this idea to others who can do exactly the same thing, that's how we get the world into a better place, really. I think.
Well, Andres
You
said,
and me are Aquarians, of course, so we're both into all these crackpot ideas of changing the world, humanitarian views, isn't it?
so Andres says, money isn't bad. What you do with it might be. And even this one is right. If you remember,
neutral.
I was telling you time ago that one solution that will make this world already better is make mandatory that everybody must have a house to live and food on their plate.
So this is coming back to this idea of the big reset, that they're talking about the moment. I mean, that everybody, for example, should have a universal wage. Everybody should have a basic wage, all the basics of life, and because the world's going to change, isn't it? We're going to have technology that's going to do an awful lot for us. The idea of everybody going to work might not work in the future. Maybe work should be a voluntary thing. I mean, you got some thoughts on that, Domenico? You know what I mean? But
I was telling you my idea, actually, that is, well, look at today's situation. Everybody works from home. Well, everybody that can works from home, right? And a lot of things can be automated, and we can have robots doing all the jobs. Now, the best solution is that everybody must have a house and food on their plate without even having fear that they cannot put a plate of pasta on their table. Without having fear that the electricity will run out, without having fear that water will run out.
Yeah.
So the main things just there, create a society in which everybody has a house, everybody has electricity, everybody has water, everybody has internet, everybody has the minimum to live plus an amount of money, let's say £1,000, to give an example, okay? And at that point, people can choose what they want to do. They want something more, they can study, they can work.
Yeah. You can work if you want to.
But that's the thing. But it's not only if you want to, you do the job you want. For example, it's been 20 years that I work in IT, and I'm doing interviews now, and it's just stressful as hell, knowing all the things I have on my shoulder. If I could just do the things I love, that is like music, video, photography, I wouldn't think twice. I would just be happy and work every day without feel tired or anything.
I know, but the problem is, I mean, when I was young, all I wanted to be was an artist, and I gave up everything, and I gave the whole lot. I did the whole sort of starving artist thing just to paint. And if I'd just had just enough money to be able to do that, I think I could have produced tremendous things. But unfortunately, that doesn't pay the bills. But I think we could perhaps, if the world could get a bit more fair, because if we were to distribute everything fairly, we would have that. We would be able to feed everybody on the planet. We would be able to house everybody and give them clean water and medicine and the rest of it. We could do that. There's plenty of resources for that. The only problem is mankind is so selfish that a few take it all. And I fear that if we did even have some form of reset, as it were, where everybody gets a minimum wage in that, there'd still be this upper ruling class that wants not just money, it's about power over other people. And there'd be a lot of dangers with it. And that's the danger. So, I mean, in theory, this is a fantastic idea. And I think it would be wonderful that we would not spend, we come to this planet and this life just to slave away to get another house, and then when I die, this house goes and the tax takes it all, and nobody really gets anything from it, and so forth, and then everybody has to start again, struggling in the same treadmill, and I think that's not what it's all about. But it's the danger is that a few idiots always want to spoil it. There's a few that would rather be concerned about having more for themselves, and particularly power, than to share it with everyone, because we could sort it all out. And actually, if we did distribute it better, population growth would drop, because people usually have too many children because they're looking to be looked after in their old age, particularly in third world countries.
Well, in some other countries, people are having more children because in this way they get more benefits. But anyway, Ingeborg's like, no, reset. It takes all incentives.
And that's true, like communism. You see, I used to really think the Marxism was actually a very good idea, But again, it takes away incentive. It's very true. It's very right.
Is that
Very right.
if we
And
start,
power destroys something idealistic like that too.
but if we start to take off the idea that people can buy houses to rent them out and make a profit out of it, already if you start to take that off,
Yeah, that would help. Yeah.
and give these houses to people that are really need, because come on, how many times happened that if you look in London, there are houses that are completely empty, unused, and they are owned by rich people, and they keep them there unused just because they are waiting for the house prices to go high enough that they will make a good money out of it.
I see an interesting one there on the comments. There's some Steve there saying sustainable community cooperation ends dependent on the state. I think that's a pretty wise thing, actually. I mean, when we were all into the hippie things, we all gave up all our money and put it into a collective pot and said we're going to have a farm. We did the whole hippie thing, and it was kind of, we never actually got to this point where we could do that. But the problem we had is that there was a group of us, and we were all absolutely determined to do this, but we had one, possibly two, that would rather put their feet up and do nothing. So we were all carrying that one person that didn't tie in with the ideal, and it was the same. And when we finished that and it didn't work out, we thought, oh, we'll just go and get some experience. We're going to get experience of farming. We'll all go and work on a kibbutz. So we all went to a kibbutz to see if we could learn about farming, because none of us knew what to do. And of course, gradually from that point off, it actually fizzled out, but the kibbutz had exactly the same problem, because there were lots of people there that were really, been come out of the concentration camps and things, and they were completely focused on building this new world, and then there was others that had been born on the kibbutz that all they really wanted was to go and get a motorbike and go off and do other things, so the whole thing was always collapsing because it was very hard to keep everybody focused on an ideal. And I think that's the same thing with the world collectively, and particularly if we were to sort of decentralize things and bring things down to smaller communities, smaller villages, and less of this globalism and more cooperative type ideas. The problem is always the ones that don't go along with it, the ones that are lazy, or the ones that are greedy and power hungry. You get a few that damage it for the mass, as it were. So like I said, I don't think we can ever really solve these problems, but I think the only thing that can, then you see fantastic things done. If you go into and you look at Winchester Cathedral down the road there, that was built by the hands of people that had no money whatsoever, because they were following a religious, spiritual desire to do something. So I think spiritual things are the only way that would ultimately make massive changes in the world. And I often wonder to myself what scale we could do things on with modern technology.
But let's do a simple walk in this idea, okay? Take rich people, okay? Imagine they have billions on their account. They're gonna die. What happened to this money? They pass to their kids. They're gonna die. What happened to the money? They pass to the other kids. They're gonna die anyway. You're gonna die. One day everybody's gonna die. You, myself, everybody.
So we're going on, this is a communist idea. Property is theft.
No, property is theft, but limit the amount of money a rich person can have. When it goes above that limit, the money will be distributed down. Like, there are people working for me.
Like one idea I was toying with the idea that when you finished your life, all that you've earned all goes into a collective pot, and that is everybody's inheritance. And from that collective pot, everybody at a certain age, probably a good age when they're young, gets say £30,000, and that's your amount. You can either start to live with it and you can do a business with it, or you can waste it. But it's up to you. Everybody gets a set amount to get them started young.
No, because
they get a booster.
No, because in that way you will still keep everything on the level that we are today. What we want to do is actually bring everybody, whether it is Bezos from Amazon or myself from Italy, both on the same level. We all have the same houses, the same food, everything is the same. The money won't make any difference.
No.
Because yeah, okay, you're a millionaire, and what? So what? You can buy a Ferrari. I can have a Ferrari too. So what's the problem?
Hmm.
So as soon as you start to remove this difference between rich and poor, as soon as you start to limit the amount of money a rich person can have, and as soon as you give to everybody the possibility of having a house and everything that is necessary to have a respectful life, then you will start to see that, for example, thieving is gonna the number of thieves is gonna be lower, because a lot of
Yeah.
people are stealing just because they need to have money to survive. uh, the number of people that want to be rich will start to disappear because they're like, I cannot get over that limit.
There's
So
also
why
applies
destroy my life and enslave people to get to the same limit that my neighbor can get?
it also applies to also another horrible thing that tends to happen in the world is because some people get opportunity given to them, like in the world of acting, for example. Someone might, the son of a great actor will get a job because the actor will open a door for him. Now that seems such a wrong thing, because so often, particularly with the arts, people with talent are often overlooked because they don't get we don't put into positions of any form of power people who are talented and good at what they can do. This is why we get politicians that are not of good character, because the people that put them into power are the ones that also no longer also don't have good character. You see what I mean? This is another where we need to make things a bit more equal, so that
Okay.
people with real talent can get on, not those that are in the know or in the boys club or in part of Eton and all the rest of it and have the money.
Then we will stop.
Politics.
Then we will need to stop having, because think about it, Boris Johnson, you didn't vote for him, you voted for the party. You voted actually for your local MP, not even for Boris Johnson. It just ended up that Boris Johnson is the boss of the party, and that's why he became the prime minister. That, like, if you don't change that, it's never going to change. The same for Trump in the States, the same for the Conte in Italy, and so on. Unfortunately, when you don't choose the person, you choose the party. Until you choose the party, you'll never know who's going to be the person in charge. Corbyn could have been worse, for example.
Yeah.
Summer, for example.
I don't know. In my
Summer
time, I voted for all the parties at one point or another, and every single one of them has disappointed me. Because again, I think that we seem to always be doing things from the standpoint of the wrong values. It's always as if we've got to have a good economy, we've got to have all the rest of it. And there's not really, and nobody's thinking about human life and why we're here, the purpose of why we're here. That's what I say. There's no spiritual aspect to the material world at all, because we live in this age of Kali Yuga. But I think one day the world will change, and we will be working from a very different standpoint. And I think we will look back at this age of material. The future people will look back at this age of materialism in disbelief that people could be so shallow. And I think it's only when our consciousness has expanded and we've evolved a bit more consciously, or we've allowed ourselves to awaken properly, that we'll start to exist in a different way. I think the human mind will change, the human spirit will change. It has evolved over history, and I think when it evolves again, I think we will see spirituality first. And when I talk about spirituality, I mean awakening, consciousness, those sort of things. I think will start to take the precedent again over the goals of human life are all material ones.
Well, Up Force says love is the answer.
Absolutely, that's 100%. Now, someone earlier on I noticed said service is the answer as well, which is also another important one. Something about service. One of them says probably gone up the screen somewhere. Yeah.
Andrea asked for both of us, if your job paid you millions in wages, would you refuse it? You go first.
No, I wouldn't. I would take the money and I would use the money as best I could. But when I see people going into these restaurants and they talk about, this meal will cost huge quantities of money, and I think, well, I would still want to live reasonably simply, I think, because I just don't think having things, because happiness cannot be found outside you. And everybody thinks, oh, if we got lots and lots of money, everything will be good. I mean, I know Liberace said, I cry all the way to the bank when people say things like that. And that was very funny. But I think, when you really think about it, money can be useful, but you can only have so many meals. You can only have so many things around you to how much do you need to be happy? And I would say I'd take the money, but I'd try to use it in the right way, I think, and use it to the thing I think money's most important for in my book is it buys you freedom. And that's, I think, an important thing, freedom. But as for material things, well, it's nice to have good things, but you can only have so much of a good thing. So I think it's moderation in all things, I would say. So yeah, that's how I would look. So I wouldn't refuse it. I'd be an idiot to refuse it, I think. What about you, Domenico? What would you do?
Well, I would take them. I wouldn't think twice. But there is a but. And one of the reasons why. All the money. Well, once I paid the mortgage off I would pay the mortgage off for the house. And then once I paid, I would still have millions in my hand that I will just give to the type 1 diabetes research.
Yeah.
Damien has type 1 diabetes. And if I can get the cure, actually, interesting point, I had 2 interviews with 2 companies that they work for the NHS, and they're developing apps for diabetes, gestational diabetes, and type 1 and type 2.
Wow, that would be fantastic to work for them.
And I'd love to help them.
Yeah.
And I have my online shop where I sell like T-shirts and stuff like that. And the money from there is going to the type 1 diabetes research.
And let's use some of these sort of sessions we do sometimes to start raising some money for a diabetic cause, because it's close to both our hearts, isn't it? Because of what's happened with Damien and everything in children. Type 1 diabetes is a dreadful thing and a terrible shock for parents, particularly when they first find out about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it changes your life to another.
Yeah.
Like, if you remember when Damien got diagnosed, we were happy because we knew what he had, but then our life completely changed. Now we are not sleeping.
Yeah.
On his sugar level.
What a shock when you discover something like that, or any terrible illness, particularly in a child, because you think with a child, it's, it seems so cruel in children, innocence being destroyed like that, really. But there you go. But I think it's good, I think if these things inspire us to try to help people, I think it's always a good thing, isn't it, really?
But that's the thing. If I had the money, I would start with type 1 diabetes research, autism research, I would cancer research. I would start to help all this scientific research to find cure, and even if they cannot find the cure, but at least make the life of people that have this problem, this situation, a bit better, a bit happier, a bit more like with Damien, how much we're trying to make him feel like a normal child. But when we go out with the other friends, when we were going out in the past now, with our friends that have the child, Nathan, the same age as Damien, and Nathan doesn't have type 1. So he can eat wherever he wants, whatever he wants. He can do everything he wants. Well, Damien needs to have his insulin injection. We need to count carb, everything he's eating. We need to be sure sugar level are right. So even if I can just make his life better and closer to a normal child, that's already a victory for me.
And these are tremendously spiritual powers that come with these things. This is something I learned with my work with the Nadis, is that if you do charitable work, you do something that's selfless, you do something that's done just for the sake of it, that you don't expect reward from, it's a very, very powerful force in your life that changes your karma. When we go back to this idea we were talking at the beginning about the eternal recurrence, which seems a long way away from where we got to now, but this idea that that our life goes on, but it's the force of karma that actually changes the flow and direction of life, and it's the force of doing good actions, I feel, has a very, very powerful force in the world. So when any of us do good in whatever field we think about, whenever we do something charitable and we do a good act for somebody, it changes and it comes back on us tenfold, because it helps us as well. It makes you happy.
I'm still with that idea I told you originally. I know you do a lot of charitable things for children in India, for example, but I told you that my point of view is a bit different here. I would help first the children here in the UK, because that's our country. I'm Italian, but this one is now my new house, my new home. And
I'd like to do. It doesn't matter where you do good. You do good where at home and abroad. You do it wherever you can. And I think I think it would be nice to do. I know you've got a few ideas about things we could do for diabetics, and you were talking about TVs in the hospitals and things like that.
There is.
I mean, the patrons on the site, when we sort of arrange that heart heart surgery, we raised that money within days to help Mr. Prakash with his heart. So goodness knows, I'm sure, you know, there's loads of guys here that are following us now, and I'm sure all you guys, you know, you'd all be thinking exactly the same. We all kind of want to do something to make the world a better place, don't we? And so often these charities, I mean, that all gets absorbed in bills and.
But that's why I don't want to go. That's why I don't like these charities, and I want to do things by myself.
Do it directly. And I think more people should, just like we want to do. Others can do the same.
Like a stupid example: the Southampton Hospital, the Southampton General Hospital, the children ward. You can clearly see a massive difference between the children ward that is upstairs and the children ward where they are taking care of heart transplant and heart surgery.
Yeah.
The one for the heart is has money donated by rich people because their children are there.
That's the peers board. We did a theatre and gave all the money to that. Oh, I can't remember what the name was. Jane wanted to give it to that one. Pierce Brown ward, I think it was called, something like that.
Can't remember. But the children ward upstairs, where all the normal children are going, the one that have emergencies and they need to be in hospital, but it's not a heart emergency. They have nothing. Like, they have old television and most of them are broken. They have some console that was donated, like PlayStation and Xbox, but some of them are broken and don't work. The rooms where they have, like, the sensory room is a bit ruined. So already, if you just buy a few television, few consoles with some video games, and like give them a Netflix subscription monthly and pay for it, already you will make the life of these children that are spending days and weeks and months in that hospital a bit better. Plus, if we can raise some money that we can give to that ward, then they can buy a bed, for example. One of my ideas, because I was talking with the manager of that ward, and she told me that if we found a bed, they can put the name we want for that bed, like that person.
Well, I think the best way to do that, Domenico, rather than do it through the foundation, we could set up something like a Just Giving thing or something like that. Have that as a separate fund, and then just give it to them and tell them what we'd like to do with it. Is that how you're thinking to do it? Or we could do it through foundation as well, whichever way.
I don't know. I mean, we can discuss better about this.
The mechanics of it. You had a separate fund so people knew they could give to that thing. You know,
we can see if we can actually set up different funds, because the other thing was to help the families in need. As you know, Daniel and I are helping the families in need we find around us, but there are lots of them that we cannot see. Actually,
someone's just saying on here, actually, I see Southampton General Hospital is actually one of the most highly regarded ones for heart conditions. Actually, I know that too, because my daughter Celeste, when she was little, she had to go in for a heart operation there with Dr. Keaton, I remember it was, and I was told we are in the best possible hands here.
Oh yeah, for that true, but it's even because they have the school, the university for these things there, and second, the people that donate to the heart ward, they're pretty rich. They got £500,000 from, can't remember the name, but there was the massive plate there.
Yeah.
If you see the heart ward and then you see the normal ward, you will see a massive difference, like two different separate wards.
I think the important thing is, like someone's just saying on their heart, some charities are a racket. I mean that really is the truth. Really, sometimes people give money, penny or a cent in a dollar, a penny in a pound goes to gets to the actual people on the ground. And I think it's better when groups of people, small people, do small things like this, and then just target it to something, and you know what you're getting for your money. It's like when we give cows to the people in India, you know, because we had that happen with somebody recently wanted to give a cow, so she asked me, could I do it? I said, I'll organize it all for you. And it's a really nice feeling, because you know that every single penny that you've given is actually buying that cow, and it doesn't work out that expensive in the end, you know. But if you do it through these charities, you're paying 10 times the money to get 1/10 of what you need, you know.
The thing is that some of these charities, they're not exactly a racket. The problem is that they have
they're top heavy, aren't they, with administration and
expenses. They have salaries to pay, they have place rent to pay, and all these things. True that they don't pay as much taxes as a normal company would, but they still have these expenses. That's why, out of everything, I remember when I was young.
I gave some money once to the Free Tibet charity, right? I think it was Free Tibet, one of the Tibetan charities. And it was only a tiny amount. I just happened to give a small amount and say thank you for something. And ever since, I've had brochures coming through my door asking for more money. And I think the more I gave that amount of money, and they've spent more money marketing me than the small amount I gave. And I think this is just madness. And I know the idea of the marketing says, oh yes, well, eventually people give more because it pays for the marketing and we get some back. But it just seems so wasteful the way it all works in my book, you know. Anyway, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent. You know, yeah.
B88 says to look for an American professor. I think Barnard, Danielle, my wife, has a book about him. The problem is that the diabetes he's talking about is type 2 diabetes. That is due to health and eating too much. Well, what my son has is type 1 diabetes. That unfortunately means that the pancreas is dead, is not producing any more insulin, and therefore needs insulin injections to lower his sugar levels or his glucose levels. And in case the glucose level are too low, we need to give him sugar to bring them up. His pancreas is completely dead. There is nothing we can do. There are solutions. One of them is the transplant, but it's dangerous, it's risky, it's still not well developed. There is a big solution for type 1, actually, that is with the stem cells.
Stem cells, yeah, I read some of this, yeah.
The problem is that a lot of countries, they are blocking the experiments on stem cells. So a lot of scientists are forced to go to small island like Hawaii and other, not Hawaii, some island anyway, where they can do these experiments. And there is actually a person that is testing a patch of stem cells that you put under your skin on the arm. And he was able to live for 6 months without the need of any insulin or glucose. He was living a normal life. Then after 6 months, he had to change it. But that's working. So if only we could help this research, it would be something better.
Yeah. Well,
we are going on.
We've gone on a long time now. I think perhaps we should start to bring it to an end now. Do you think, Domenico? I don't know. Oh, we can go on forever. I mean, it depends what people like.
Let's take the last 20 minutes and we make it 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine for that. Yeah, you see, guys, I hope you're enjoying this. This is a very different type of sort of show tonight, but it's just, we thought just a general chat and see where it goes. We didn't know what we're going to talk about when we started. We got meandered through all sorts of interesting ideas. It'd be quite nice if we do this again, if you like this sort of idea, some of you could come on and have a chat with us, so we could have other people talking with us. Would be good, wouldn't it? Do you think?
Yeah. Andre says, keep faith in your son. Well, I do have a lot of faith in him, and actually you should see him. Life throw at him so many stones and he's always there smiling.
Yeah, he does. It's incredible, actually, incredibly resilient and brilliant as well on another level too, you know, which is very interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, about this new format, it came out as an idea like when we were discussing it yesterday.
Me and Jane, really, and I thought it might be interesting to stick it online.
Yeah, we usually do this type of chitty chats, Craig and I, when we meet or when we just are online or after the live they have on Friday. So we were just like, how about we have this discussion with other people? So for now, we are using Craig and my channel where we're sharing this live.
Yeah, we've got 2 channels. We'll put in the description below, so you can go and have a look at Domenico's channel actually and connect onto Domenico's channel, because it's kind of a new channel you've got there, but there's some really interesting stuff and very well made videos there.
And that's an experimental channel.
We might take this onto an experimental channel of its own, I think, probably, because
this one I think is going to be actually I started to have a look at the how to make it a podcast in a way that people can follow us on YouTube on the video, but if they're driving, for example, they can listen us through their phone on their radios and stuff like that.
Sometimes you can just listen to this type of stuff as well, can't you?
And then I was thinking to set up a way that people can contact us if they want to join in the chat.
Yeah. Another thing, actually, just I keep getting messages on the comments here about people saying that the automatic subtitles don't come off on these videos. I don't know if we've got a problem there. Perhaps you could have a look at that sometime for me.
They usually come on YouTube. The live videos don't do it. On Facebook.
That's what it is. It's the live ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, asking you technical questions, but that's what we would normally do in a talk like this anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's our normal cheat. So what you saw now, the chats that we are having now, it's actually what we do. So we just thought, how about we let the people join us and be part of our discussion?
Ginger T saying there, I like the idea of chats as we're so isolated and have to stay home. These are quite good ideas, I think, when we're all stuck at home, aren't they? I mean, that Netflix program is brilliant, but there's very little on telly to watch, isn't it? And I just hate sitting passively all the time. And at least you get people get a chance to interact here. Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Questions up though, so perhaps we should do a few more of them.
There is the main point of this first video. That was the one that we discussed before.
Yeah.
We need to find a name. We don't have a name for this series, so we were thinking about. Let me see. I got them written now. We had backroom chats or background thoughts.
Both of those sound a little bit boring. I thought the other side might be good. This is the other side of the. Anybody got any ideas? Share them with us. We thought we might make it into its own little channel. You know.
Yeah, let us know.
The main channel here, but then we can move it to a channel. Because otherwise people won't know where to go to subscribe, would they?
Keep in mind these videos, these live or videos that we're gonna do, they are gonna be about anything. So we can talk about this camera and then start to, as we've done today, start to talk about politics or start to talk about psychic stuff and mind and alien.
Conversations usually end up going somewhere kind of spiritually sort of orientated because it's like-minded people are together. So we usually end up talking about those sort of things anyway. But it's also good to talk about pizzas and all the other
talking about pizza and respecting with each other. I'm Neapolitan. That is one thing I will never respect, and is the pineapple on pizza. Just don't.
Yeah. So we'll have to think of a good title for it.
But yeah, what did you think, people? If you like, just leave a thumbs up or write in the comment section too. Let us know.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting way, just having a discussion like this, and it would be quite nice, I think, if we can bring people on board too, because just a few guests sometimes, and Jane, I can even have Jane just host it sometimes and have a chat with people too. That would be another nice thing to just give her on her own. You know,
we can have Jane and Danielle having their chats.
Oh yeah, I get the whole family on board. Then that would cause a few troubles. And I noticed Phil there. I noticed would rub a few people up the wrong way.
Oh, anything goes. That might sound actually right.
Yeah, that's quite clever.
Yeah, that's quite good.
But that does kind of encourage people to be come in with heavy stuff, doesn't it? Perhaps,
that's fine.
Spray on latex funwear we can talk about or something.
I'm fine with that. We're going to talk about cars.
Yeah.
My poster. The poster behind me. That every time I had a meeting, people were asking me what it was, and I always had to explain it. And
yeah, because it looks rude, doesn't it? Yeah.
It actually is rude. It looks like English, but it's not English. It's a way of saying Neapolitan that is "Ma che facci malucca fa." That means why the fuck are you screaming, or why the fuck are you shouting?
So what do you think, guys? Did you like this kind of chat? I mean, can you just give us a few comments, those of you that hung on to the end? I think it's quite an interesting way. Yeah. So it's quite an interesting way to have a conversation, I think, and just a general thing that's a little bit away from our normal sort of chats. particularly during this lockdown time. I think it's quite good to have intercommunications like this with people. So
Silver
I think
is saying do another live video.
Yeah, I think the live's always fun, isn't it?
There is more interaction. I do believe that the live video is. I had this idea that, like, you remember the videos we made together, going out and these things. Those I see more as educational videos, documentaries in which you have a topic and you just talk about the topic. While the live video, I found it more interesting because you have a direct connection with the people watching and they can interact with you. A bit like in a theater, just you are at home.
Yeah, because it's ever so tedious at home. I think you feel like people at the moment. I think feel that there's no human connection between everybody, you know. And I think when it's live, it feels more real than just sat watching something that's been recorded on the TV, you know. So yeah, I think there's a lot of mileage in this type of thing, and so I hope the guys enjoyed it tonight.
Seems that people enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and found it quite interesting.
And we can all steer things in all sorts of interesting directions and talk about things we wouldn't have thought about, you know.
Alex says it's very different.
Yeah, that could be taken in many different ways.
Oh, we got agility beats. Hello, I can finally tell you.
Yeah, it's a different sort of chat we've had tonight, but I think there's some quite interesting ideas came out of that. I mean, this whole thing we talked about with eternal recurrence and things, quite interesting. We can always, you know, God knows where we'll end up with our conversations.
Well, you know how we start, and the good thing is that we
really, isn't it? You know, it's just
the good thing is that we both enjoy it, so
yeah,
we can go on for hours just doing this.
Yeah,
and who knows, it might be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as long as we don't exhaust you with it. I think I'm kind of ready to finish now, actually. So Coast to Coast Radio Show has a similar chat group here in America. Oh, yeah, I went on Coast to Coast. They're quite nice people there. They were. It gets a lot of exposure too. I went on there and talked about coincidences. I think we talked about something strange.
Oh, Agility Beats says they only found the live broadcast is great for me as I live on my own and feel very isolated. Well, that was the first one. There are going to be more.
Going to play around today, wasn't it? Just an experiment, you know.
This was even actually done 30 minutes ago. Like 30 minutes before we started, we organized it.
Yeah. We said, shall we give it a go? Yeah, let's do it now. Let's see where we get on. Yeah. I think we're going to have our main show. I mean, we will be sort of changing the formats of things a lot. Once we've got our studio, we've got a whole format show that we've got in mind that we're going to be doing with a set and everything like that. And that will be like the main show. And then we'll probably have all these extra shows like this on possibly their own channels. So, you know, people know what they're getting when they subscribe to our channel, you know.
Yeah, I think the best way is to leave your channel to what you're already doing. So keep that format.
Be on a new format. Yeah.
We'll just have a dedicated channel for these. And we will just start to share it with people.
Actually, yeah.
Ingeborg says, not boring. Cheers, ciao, and thanks. You're more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for
joining us tonight. We're gonna. It's been a good fun, isn't it? And so, thanks for joining. And don't forget, if you don't forget to follow us. If you're new here today, follow us. It's not this is just one example of sort of the type of things we do. We've got lots of sort of all sorts of different types of things, haven't we? We've got readings going on, predictions going on. We've got sort of channeling type things where we give messages to people. We've got me and Jane chatting, you know, we've got all sorts. So hopefully you find it interesting, and we keep experimenting with new ideas all the time.
And if you feel you want to help us with our project, want to donate anything, you can buy us a coffee. We will leave in the description the comment, the links.
It's a new thing. Buy us a coffee or buy us a pizza in Domenico's case, and that'll give you. They can just give us a subscription to help us continue to do these sort of things and help fund us personally this time, as opposed for the foundation itself.
Thank you, Diana.
Very kind.
Mark saying hi, guys. I think it just joined. Andrea, been a pleasure, everyone. Stay safe and God bless you all. Good night.
Yeah.
All right, people. I think it's time for us Oh, I have not spoken to anyone for many days. Well, if you want to talk with us, just let
Yeah,
us
we come
send us a
online.
message. You
Yeah.
can send us a message on Craig's page or my page or on the YouTube channel. And if you feel you want to discuss with us about any topic as you saw today, you can actually join us. It's enough you got a phone with a camera or a computer with a camera.
I'm laughing because I've just seen Niccolo Avocado's comment come up here.
Can I have one?
5. Yeah.
I will. Okay, I'm on my way. I'll just go get the plane.
I got popcorn. I got lots and lots of popcorn. We could do a Niccolo Avocado one. Couldn't we?
I had biscuits, but they're gone. They're gone.
Loads of popcorn. Yeah, loads of popcorn. Yeah.
I also like the time of this live. I live in Oz, and I'm
By
usually.
the time actually, it's been a long couple of hours, isn't it? So you're bound to catch us wherever you live.
Well, but that's the other
Let's
thing.
do a 24-hour show. Can we do that on YouTube? That would be a good one.
Which one?
I'll do it live that lasts 12 hours all through the night one day or something.
Yeah,
We all got
I think we
time
can.
on our hand, didn't we? Do a seance and things like that. Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking as we go here.
Actually, you know what we should do next? Something like Gogglebox.
Yeah, it's a bit like Big Brother.
No, I was thinking about Gogglebox, that we watch some TV show or a series or a movie and then we discuss about it. As one.
Yeah, that'd be fun too. I mean, we've got lots of ideas, lots and lots of ideas we could do. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, it's a bye for now from me.
bye for now from me too. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely night.
See ya.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.